employment, practice, liability. Do I have your attention? Well, I should. Because if you don't have employment practice liability insurance, what are you thinking? I mean, you're going to love the show. I have Sommer Gullette from Schiff Insurance here. Local agency here in Cincinnati, so well respected. And is it your boss, Charlie? Is he your boss?
Yes.
Wow. I think he'd giggle if I said that. We were talking one day and I said, Charlie, do people thoroughly understand what that is and why it's so important that they work with your organization? And that's what led to this show. Sumner's here because she's going to explain to you just what that means. And if you aren't really sure, you need to get a piece of paper and pencil, as I have told you many times. Take good notes because this is a topic that companies don't normally talk about, right, Sommer?
That's correct. It's a very important insurance coverage that it's a great topic for HR professionals. Every day they're dealing with hiring, firing, accommodations, dealing with complaints. And this is an insurance coverage that will help with those incidents if there's a claim.
How long have you been doing this?
So I've been in insurance for 17 years. I started out on the insurance company side. I was there for 14 years and actually underwrote this type of coverage. And then I've been on the agency side. I made that switch about 4 years ago.
So if we had to say you've seen a lot, you've seen a lot.
I've seen a lot.
And it's not always good.
No.
Because I'm one of those folks that says I will buy insurance in hopes that I never use it. It's like that safety net that it automatically comes out of the checking account and I just kind of breathe easier knowing that, as all people do, if we make a mistake, something bad happens, we're covered. It's not going to destroy our company.
Right.
But what do you have an idea of what percentage of companies don't actually have employment practice liability?
I don't know the percentage, but I would say it's a very important coverage to have as part of your risk management program, just so you can sleep at night knowing if there is a lawsuit, even if you did nothing wrong, the defense costs, they add up quick.
I'm so glad you said that because we have said a number of times the employee doesn't have to be correct. They don't have to actually have had anything wrong to sue an employer. And with that comes attorney's fees and possibly court fees, but just the disruption to the organization. So what does employment practice liability cover?
So the main coverages examples would be wrongful termination, claims of retaliation. Retaliation is actually a really big one right now. I read an article that half of EEOC charges contain a component of retaliation.
Oh, isn't that great? She's speaking our language, guys. She's speaking our language. Keep going.
So that's a big one for failure to promote or failure to hire. So even if you don't hire someone, an applicant could bring a claim and your employment practices coverage could come into play. Sexual harassment, that's another big one. Discrimination.
All words that our audience has heard a million times. But this is the first time that I've had somebody on talking about the companies. We talk about training as a sense of protection or trying to be proactive, but no one's ever been on to talk about the insurance aspect.
Right. Like you can have a sound HR practice, you can have a good company culture, but not everyone's going to be happy. You can't make everyone happy. There's going to be someone disgruntled who's going to bring a lawsuit. No matter if you have 5 employees or 1,000, someone's going to be unhappy.
And that's the point I really wanted to make sure that you said was that this is not set up for just the big boys. Don't ever say you're too small. You're not too small. As startups, if you're putting together your business model and your business plan of what you feel you need to invest, and go ahead and Google it. Go ahead and ask Chat GBT or whatever that stuff is, that AI, because even AI is going to say you need insurance.
Absolutely. And I think it's more important for the small companies because they don't have the financial resources. They don't want to spend their well-earned money on a frivolous claim by an employee. So it's more important for them to be able to insure those costs.
Smaller companies don't always have the expertise to not make mistakes.
Right.
And this is a wonderful way of just kind of settling back and going, okay, what comes with that insurance?
So there's a lot of components that if you do have a policy in place, there are some things that um, some coverages that you should look for to make sure that you have. One would be third party liability coverage. This is just it wouldn't be it's just not a claim between the employer and the employee. This would be a third party would bring a suit. So the example I like to use would be a FedEx driver. Say a FedEx driver comes into your place of employment and alleges that the receptionist is harassing them, and that third party brings a suit. Employment practices could come into play.
Excellent, excellent. We're talking about third party, and again, you're educating me as well on this, because I'm one of those people who bought it, but I don't really know what I bought. I just bought it because I knew I was supposed to. But what if we have a third party administrator, a company that's processing our FMLA or processing our workers' comp? Will it cover any mistakes that they make?
So it won't cover mistakes that they make because this is purely coverage for the employee-employer relationship.
Okay.
The third party would come into play if an employee would harass or discriminate a third party. So like a customer, someone that comes on premises.
Okay. Okay. And does it provide legal counsel for those claims?
It does. So you would have typically policy starts at $1 million limit. You would have defense costs, and then that limit would also apply to judgments and settlements or any damages that would come up.
Oh my gosh. And you're and we know companies don't have this. What about like deductions?
So usually, with the policy, there's usually a deductible that you have. So you would have a little bit of skin in the game.
Hmm.
So I mean, a small company could have $1,000 to $10,000 deductible. It kind of depends on your employee size.
Okay. Okay. And how difficult is it to obtain a policy like this? You don't have to be in business for a certain period of time.
You do not. So the it's pretty easy. You would have to complete a small application, ask you if you have a handbook, if you have an at-will statement in your handbook, a conflict of interest policy, and then it's based on your employee count. So that's how it's rated from an insurance company side.
I love those questions because what it basically is asking the company is how proactive have you been or are you in preventing certain issues?
Exactly.
Do does the insurance company actually go out and do audits to make sure that the companies are compliant?
They do not. So some companies will ask for a copy of your employee handbook 'cause they'll want to just see what you have in place. Um, but they don't come out and audit for
Okay.
this coverage.
So this really is harmless, although extremely important.
Extremely important. There's some coverages that come into play that things you don't think about that's included in a policy. There's a sublimit for immigration expense. So if there's an immigration investigation by the Department of Labor, there's usually a sublimit for defense cost for that. With
Oh my
So
goodness.
things that you don't think about. There's also a wage and hour defense sublimit you'll see in policies. So if there's a wage and hour dispute and there's an investigation, there is some defense costs available. Now, it doesn't cover the fines and penalties, but it would provide some defense.
But if we've got companies that are still challenging the 1099 versus W-2 category
Right.
and they're paying somebody improperly, they get sued, this policy could actually kind of step in and assist with that.
Exactly. With defense. Mhm. And there's actually just an article in the Business Courier today about a wage and hour dispute. So it's something that happens a lot.
Oh, it happens every day. The audience knows. We've done shows on this. Even the biggest companies are having the smallest mistakes. They're allowing things to slip between the cracks, and we just talked about a huge lawsuit with Sherm. Actually, there were 3 lawsuits with Sherm on some of their mistakes. I can Okay, so SHRM has liability, I'm sure, for employment practices liability, but is there a possibility that they could lose their coverage after so many different charges?
That is something underwriting looks at. If you're a company who's having 3, 4, 5 claims a year, there's something wrong. Like,
There's
they're not
definitely
doing
something wrong.
so
They're not
that's
watching this podcast.
right.
They're not listening to us.
So that would trigger some thought with the underwriter to get with the insured to figure out what's wrong. Like, what can they change? But with the policy, there's typically what they call a 1-800 hotline, an EPL hotline that's included, and it's free. And it's such an underutilized tool. And you can call if you want legal advice. It goes to an attorney, and you can get, if you have an issue with an employee, you could get some legal advice on how to handle it. If you want help with your employee handbook, or if there's a new employment law that you would need some legal advice on, that's all included, and it's free of charge. You could call this hotline as many times as you like.
What, for as many times as you
Yes,
like?
and that's invaluable.
Oh my gosh, is that in the small print?
Yes, and a lot of people don't know about it.
No, they don't, or you would be inundated.
Right.
Wow. What size of companies are providing this insurance? I mean, when we talk about employee benefits, we're talking about Mass Mutual, we're talking about Humana, we're talking about United Healthcare. What kind of brokers or carriers, excuse me, have this kind of insurance?
So any property and casualty company that's offering business insurance would have some form of coverage for employment practices.
Okay. I try to bring you information that you can react to and instantly go back to your offices and apply. And this is without a doubt one of those topics. And Summer, you would take calls and answer questions for them.
Absolutely.
How do they contact you?
So you can email me. My contact information's on the screen. Give me a call. Happy to help. It's definitely an important coverage and one that every business owner should have in place.
And if you don't have it in place, would you please at least investigate this? And you don't have to be the HR person to do it. If you're the CFO, if you're the COO, go and ask. I'd like to take a look at this policy. I want to know what coverage we actually have. And if you have the coverage, you might just call Sommer and compare what you have to what her product actually is. Because if you don't know anything about the legal counsel, maybe you don't have it in your policy and you need to get hers. Sommer, thank you.
Thank you.
This is so exciting. I actually brought you a topic that we've never in 8 years provided. But again, I'm trying, guys. I am really trying. So keep watching, keep listening, because we're here at the Human Resource.